Well, just met you today, tonight. Well, I've seen you kind of around and stuff like that, and you got some interesting stories to tell about your life and stuff like that. Tell us, what's your name?
Well, my name's Mike. My last name's Bleep. Digitize.
Talk
digitize. Can't digitize my face.
I was wanting to talk to you. You're what is it now? Your sister or ex-girlfriend or someone had like a big balloon phobia?
Oh my God, this chick is petrified of balloons to the point that a blown up balloon cannot be in her presence at all, period. Screams, runs, actually will cry. You can trap her in a room with a balloon. You can let her go in a room that has one exit and put a balloon in a doorway and it's over. She ain't going nowhere. She will fucking sit there on the floor Indian style and cry until someone moves that balloon for her. So I came up with the grand idea that I'm gonna mail her some balloons. So I tried with a standard yellow envelope and I just blew the balloon up a little bit, stuck that bitch in there, shipped it out to her. Fuck, balloon popped, didn't make it, but she got the fucking empty balloons. And I didn't put a return address on it, so she didn't know it was me for a fact, but she knew it was me. She's like, man, Mike, you're a dick. Actually, she don't cuss because she's super Christian, but it's okay. What happened was, I got smart. I went and got one of them fucking boxes, the flat rate shipping boxes, sent that motherfucker filled with little balloons, like the ones you use for water balloons that are small. So I filled it up with a bunch of little balloons that are already blowed up, sent that shit to her, priority mailed it, and called her and said, when you open your package that I sent you, you got to be on the phone with me. So this is what I hear. I can't even imitate the scream, but it was a blood-curdling scream. It was one of those screams that you would think that somebody just busted up in her house with a big butcher knife and said, I'm about to rape your asshole. No, it was balloons. So I hear the screaming, the dropping of her phone, the disconnection of the phone. Probably 45 minutes later, she calls me and she's like, you are such a douche. And I'm like, why am I a douche? She's like, I had to wait for my husband to get home from work to go get my cell phone off of the floor in the kitchen because I opened the package and the balloons were in there and I couldn't go nowhere near my cell phone because of the balloons. And I was like, are you fucking serious right now? You're 28 years old and you're so fucking scared of a balloon that you can't even go in the room with a balloon? What the fuck, man? You got 4 kids. What the fuck do you do for their birthdays? They're not allowed to have balloons and shit? That's kind of selfish of you. And then you're petrified of clowns too, so you can't even get a fucking clown for their birthday parties? You're so scared of blowed up objects, the fun houses, the bouncy ones and shit. She can't even be around them because she's fucking scared of them too. And I'm like, man, you are one scary bitch. Yeah, it's just, that's just one thing with her. She's also, that same girl, she's petrified of spiders as well. So,
What the hell did you do?
Well, I got her a few times in high school because me and her were like literally attached at the umbilical cord. We were inseparable. You couldn't get us away from each other. We were in almost every class together. We sat next to each other in every class. We were basically the couple that never was because we only dated for a short period of time. But we might as well have been dating our whole lives at that point. You know what I mean? Like we.
If you were a TV couple, you've been one of those couples that people wanted to get together, but they never did.
Yes, that's what happened. But we did get together for a little while. But she had chosen that in order to be with her, you can't smoke marijuana, cigarettes, you can't cuss, you got to go to church, and all kinds of other stuff. So.
Oh, you're doomed.
Yeah, I was doomed. I was totally out of the picture because I cussed, smoked, and all that.
I don't know how many F-bombs I just counted here in the last few minutes.
Exactly, that's what I'm fucking talking about, motherfuck. So anyhow, I was doomed. So that relationship, and we still have a very close relationship to this day. Well, anyhow, with the spider scenario, I mean, we were so close, like, she'd be at her locker and I'd come up behind her and give her a hug. And that was the highlight of in between classes for her, was me coming up behind her and hugging her. Mm-hmm. So I decided, since I know her locker combination, I can get in her locker anytime I want. Like, we're like that, like close as fuck, still to this day. So I decided, she's petrified of spiders. Motherfucking Mike right here is gonna do something with a spider in her locker. Of course, couldn't resist myself. So I got one of them big daddy motherfucking tarantulas, like the hairy legs. They're like, that big around and shit. It wasn't alive. It was a, whatever you call them. It wasn't rubber either. It was like realistic. With the little hairs on the legs. Like, if you was to see this bitch, you'd be like, damn, that's a real fucking spider. Yeah, put it in her locker. teachers come running out of their out of their classes on that one because of the scream that she allowed out on that. But you know, that's
yeah. I remember. You ever? I know I'm a big movie buff. I never seen this whole movie all the way, but I'm trying to think. There was a movie. You're practically nearly as old as me. Do you remember this movie called Phobia?
I've heard of the name of it, but I've never actually seen it.
Jeff Daniels and John Goodman as an exterminator.
John Goodman and Jeff Daniels as an exterminator.
John Goodman was an exterminator.
Sounds like a C-class movie, don't it?
Yeah.
Was it?
Oh no, I never seen it. It was like poisonous spiders that bit you, you died. I mean, it had John Goodman in it. He was like a Rambo exterminator.
What about Jeff Daniels? What did he do?
Jeff Daniels
was he screaming like a bitch in the background the whole time?
Jeff Daniels was like a doctor who I just tried to stop them and stuff like that and got to a big battle with the spiders at the end. But yeah, I mean, they were both teamed up to stop the spiders. Her and John Goodman did.
Yeah, she wouldn't even be able to watch that movie. Like a week ago, I was talking to her on the phone and she said, "Oh my God, there's a spider on the ceiling in my bedroom," blah, and started screaming. And her husband was at work, so she couldn't do shit. And she ain't about to go to bed with a spider on the ceiling in her room, so she's freaking out, like, what am I going to fucking do?
That would have been interesting sex, wouldn't it have been?
Yeah, that would be interesting. So I'm like, well, what are you going to do, Tiffany? You're petrified of spiders and you got one above you. I was like, just think while you're sleeping, that bitch is going to drop down on your forehead and crawl up in your nostril, lay eggs, and then you're going to have a bunch of baby spiders inside you. And she's like, oh my God, you're gross, blah, blah, blah. So guess what her solution to a spider is?
What?
She goes and gets a damn vacuum cleaner, okay? And fucking vacuum cleans it off the thing. So I brought up the fact to her, you know that all you're doing is pissing that spider off. Now it's sucked up inside a vacuum bag. And it knows who the fuck did it to it. It knows that this big bitch fucking came up in the room with a big ass fucking vacuum and sucked its ass up in there. So when it crawls back out of that fucking tube, out of the bag and shit, you know who it's coming for. It's coming for you because you're a fucking spider killer. You fucking evil bitch. So, I'm sorry, Tiffany, I didn't mean that. Yeah, that's the extent of her thing. So I sent her a video from Facebook. It said tag a friend that's scared of spiders. And it was a spider like this big around on the ceiling. And this dude gets on a ladder and he's got a cup and he goes to, you know, get it in the cup. And when he goes to get it in the cup, the spider jumps down onto his face. He collapses off the ladder and starts screaming and shit.
Shit.
Yeah, so just watching that video, she freaks out. She calls me and she's like, oh my God, you're so mean. And I'm like, what? And she's like, that video. She said, if I would have even seen a spider that big in my house, I would have passed out in fear. And I was like, passed out? She said, yeah, I would have fainted instantaneously out of complete fear. I wouldn't have even had a chance to try to get a ladder. And I was like, would you have got your vacuum cleaner out on it? She's like, no, I would have called somebody. Like that's
called the Orkin man.
No, she would have called anybody. She would have called the next door neighbor like, oh my God, there's a spider in my house and it's huge as fuck. You got to come get it. And that's just insanity. But I don't know, man. As far as crazy stories go, I could go on for days with some of the stories of stuff that's happened in my life. Obviously, you enjoy videotaping people telling